another scholarship player from the Iowa men's basketball team enters the transfer portal. We'll talk about it in a moment. But first of all, a reminder to hit the subscribe button below this video if you've not already subscribed to my channel here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. And of course, hit the like button as well. Helps the channel spread, helps word spread of what we're doing here, producing Iowa content each and every week. So, the latest in Hawkeye Nation is Austin Ash, veteran guard for Iowa, enters the transfer portal. Former walk-on. He was on scholarship this past year. Now, I did see some criticism. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why you'd be critical of Austin Ash, but of course, you're always going to have the keyboard warriors out in full force, especially on the likes of Twitter and other social media platforms. And a lot of cynicism, and I don't quite understand it. I know Austin Ash wasn't logging regular minutes. He was a scholarship player. Now, let's acknowledge this. There was no expectation that he was returning. I really didn't even realize that he had another year left, but you go back and look at his eligibility. He does have a year left. He did not play his true freshman year. He redshirted. And then he played 1-2 years. And on that third year of playing, he actually went through senior day festivities, even though technically he was a redshirt junior. He went through senior day festivities, comes back for a fifth year, goes through senior day festivities again, and it looked like he was done. I think certainly we've known this, that he was not going to return to Iowa. Now, if Iowa swings and misses in the portal, and I don't think they will, they've got 3 scholarships open, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, but if they were to swing and miss in the portal and Ash wants to return, maybe he ends up coming back. I mean, what would be the harm in that? He's been a very, very good scout team guy. Obviously, they've talked about this. Fran has been very complimentary of Ash's contributions over the years. He does provide some leadership. Now, you may laugh at that, but being a contributor in practice is a big factor here. I do think he's going. I'm sure he wants to see what he can do somewhere else, perhaps with a larger role. Could he go the Riley Till route and go to a Big West school or a MEAC school and maybe develop into something close to a starter? I don't know about that. That's a question he'll have to answer. We know Ash's physical limitations. He obviously can shoot it. It's got unlimited range. Athletically, he's not going to blow your socks off. But he has been a good contributor. He's been a big contributor as it relates to leadership and contributions in practice with the scout team. So best of wishes to Austin Ash. And it's going to be one of those rare examples of a guy who very likely will go through 3 different senior day festivities. Think about that. Because again, he went through his senior day festivities during his redshirt junior year. He went through senior day again this year, and he'll go conceivably through senior day festivities wherever he ends up at his next school. So we shall see what it means for Iowa. Again, he wasn't logging regular minutes. He was not a guy that was in the regular rotation, although he did spot some minutes here and there during his career here. But the big point here is it's confirmation, at least for now, it's confirmation that scholarship is available. And I don't think there was much doubt, but now Bohannon's gone. Ash is gone. Keegan Murray is gone. Joe Toussaint is gone. And Josh Agundale is gone. 2 scholarship guys are coming in as true freshmen. Desante Bowen, the point guard. Josh Dix, the wing guy who unfortunately suffered a compound fracture in his leg here just a couple months ago. So his immediate availability is somewhat in doubt, although there's some optimism he could return and be ready for his true freshman year, but we'll see. But the point is now, those 2 guys are not going to cover the 5 scholarships open. You get 3 scholarships open. We know Fran McCaffrey is very active in the portal. I've promised on this show that I'm going to run through some of the targets that have been identified from Iowa's point of view. I know Fardaz Amak's a guy, and there's a couple others that Iowa has had its name linked to. But Amak certainly at the top of the list, the kid out of Utah Valley. And again, we'll talk about it here in the coming days here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. But Iowa's got some flexibility now. I believe, and I've said this a long time, you're going to hear me say it over and over again, they need to go get a big man, which of course they're doing. And I think they'd be very smart to go get a 3-point shooter. Losing not Austin Ash. I know, again, he wasn't playing regular minutes, but losing Keegan Murray, he was a 40% 3-point shooter, and losing the most prolific three-point shooter in Iowa history, and Jordan Bohannon. Don't tell me you're just going to find a way to replace those two guys with the roster they have. I like Tony Perkins. I like Aaron Eulis. Aaron Eulis has not shown confidence from behind the arc. Tony Perkins' confidence seemed to have grown. It seems to have grown as his career has continued. Chris Murray's a good three-point shooter. Peyton Sandfort, you'd have to think, is going to take a step. Maybe Josh Dix is ready. Maybe DeSante Bowen is ready to contribute from three. But I think they'd be very smart to go get a three-point shooter. I know I was looking at a point guard or two in the portal as well. Surprised me a bit. We still don't know. Could Aaron Eulis enter the portal? I doubt that at this point, but would have no guarantees there. Certainly he's in line for some extended minutes, with him being the only returning point guard left, with Joe Toussaint and Jordan Bohannon both leaving, DeSante Bowen coming in as a freshman. So Iowa's going to be they are very active in the portal right now. AMAC has down to 5 schools reportedly as a center. Certainly he would be a big addition, and they are going to have to target somebody in the backcourt, whether that be at point guard or at the off guard spot. And I do think, again, three-point shooting is going to be at a premium next year. I think they're going to have the horses defensively to kind of pick up where they left off, despite losing one of the best players in the league defensively in Keegan Murray, and one of the best players in the league defensively in Joe Toussaint. Likes of Tony Perkins. Aaron Eulis is a good defender. Chris Murray is a good defender. I think Philip Rebrach is underrated. He was playing out of position, I think, most of this year. Those guys will be able to defend. They got to get somebody who can shoot from behind the arc, and we'll see what happens. But again, lots of time left. I know that there's more and more players entering the portal. This past week may very well end up being the busiest week in the transfer portal. And you could say advantage Iowa in a sense, because they're not one of the last 4 playing. I'm not trying to patronize Iowa fans, but in a way, Iowa can fully focus on recruiting, specifically the transfer portal. And that Duke has coaches in North Carolina and Kansas and Villanova. They all have coaches who are still actively recruiting. But some of these kids, you can get on them early, like AMAC, perhaps an advantage. But Kentucky, no, they're in on AMAC hard as well. Texas Tech, who's not in the tournament anymore, they're in on AMAC. Washington's in. But again, depending on who we're looking at, I think Iowa has a good shot of landing a couple of these kids. AMAC would be number 1 on the list. But again, I'll talk about that here on a future show. Do a live show. I know I talked about being live here at some point. Just hasn't worked out the schedule. But stay tuned here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Turn notifications on so that when I go live, you're aware and you can log on, and we'll take phone calls, take your chats. We'll have a good time here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. So again, the latest news in Hawkeye Nation: Iowa senior guard Austin Ash has entered the transfer portal, conceivably looking for more run next year and an opportunity to be on scholarship somewhere else and perhaps have a bigger role. So best of wishes to Austin Ash, and appreciation for the contributions he has made.